Navy Matters.
Hello, this is Richard Acritelli here on The Fog of War and Humanity on hmTV. To the left of me is Legislature Chad Lennon from Suffolk County and Lieutenant Colonel within the United States Marine Corps and Afghan war veteran. So we were talking about the logistics, right?
Yes.
Some of the training. Now, where do you go after you get done with the logistics?
So I got assigned to a unit out in Camp Pendleton. Went out there and pretty much just got ready to go out the door to Afghanistan. That unit was already slated to go out there. And we just started building up from there from platoon level all the way up to the battalion level to get clear to go out the door.
Okay. How long were you there for?
Well, let's see, probably, I want to say about 8 months before we actually left.
And it's just getting ready for deployment?
Yes.
You're doing some training. You're making sure you're getting your supplies, right?
Yeah, so we went out and started doing platoon level machine guns, started doing convoy training because I was a platoon commander.
Okay.
So I was in charge of a truck platoon.
Okay.
So we would be resupplying and running missions for whoever else, also some security missions, whatever else were ad hoc tasks that were given to us.
Now, did you have good training there? Was there officers and enlisted that were in that base that kind of said this is what you could expect? These are the things that you want to look out for, that sort of thing?
So that unit just got back from an Iraq deployment. So they had a lot of folks there that had combat experience from that. Plus, obviously, those who've been in longer have been more deployments. So a good group of guys and gals that were there. And again, it was just coming together and start building up for that deployment. We would do platoon, company exercises in the field. We did battalion exercise in the field. We went out to enhance Mojave Viper, and that was the last big exercise that we did for about 5 weeks in the deserts of 29 Palms to get ready to go out the door to Afghanistan.
So now, what was like the one bit of advice that like maybe a senior officer had said to you that stayed with you, that you said, wow, when I got to Afghanistan, this was pretty realistic. They were correct.
I mean, there was so much. It's just there's no roads. And that was to be expected, but when you go through that, it's a different experience. There's one actual road in Afghanistan. Everything else is just a desert.
Where would that be? Like in Kabul or
I think it's somewhere out there.
Kandahar? Or?
Someplace I never was.
Wow, wow.
But yeah, we had dirt paths. And it was like, this
certainly
is the road.
not Rocky Point or Glen Cove or anywhere else in between, right?
Nothing like it. And it was just the beach without the water.
Wow.
Just sand and dust from the sand and desert everywhere.
So now you're in California for 8 months. When do you leave California to go to Afghanistan?
I think we left end of March 2010 to go out there. So we went up to Maine. They had a nice group of folks that were there that were saying, hey, good luck out there. We're all supporting you. So that was great to see. Then we went to Germany for a short stop there. Then we went to Kyrgyzstan for a few days, and then over to...
was that like the staging area?
Yeah. So everyone that was going in and out of Afghanistan, that was the spot that everyone would go to get adjusted a little bit more to get ready to go out the door.
Was that a big base?
It's not as big as you'd expect.
Yeah. Just large enough to do what it needs to do?
Because there's so many people going in and out. So it's not like you need a big base. You have thousands.
What's it, more of a transit point?
It is. It's thousands of people going back and forth, but no one's really staying there except for the support personnel. I think we were there for 3 or 4 days.
Were you allowed off of base?
No.
No. You had to stay right on base.
Stay on the base. They had coffee shop, place to eat. I think they had maybe a gym there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you're just sitting there waiting. When is our plane going to go from here to Afghanistan?
Yeah, it's not a sightseeing tour or anything like that.
No,
right?
You're just waiting for it to say, all right, you're next in the chute to go.
All right, so now you're there, right? A couple of days, you go to Afghanistan. Where do you fly into in Afghanistan?
So we flew into Leatherneck. That was the big logistical base. Bastion was the English side. So we fly into there, we get our gear, we stage it, and then it's...
Where is that? Where is that? What area of Afghanistan is that?
I don't remember exactly where, because we were there. It was such a quick time that we were there that it doesn't even really stick out. I just remember like there's paved roads there on the base.
Okay.
A Burger King on the base, which is definitely
a luxury,
an odd experience.
right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But you're just waiting to get the next flight to bring you over to what was Camp Dwyer in Helmand Province. So as soon as that's ready, we went out to Camp Dwyer. That's where we were. That's where we staged out of. We went all over Helmand Province at that point.
Now, Camp Dwyer, was that a large facility?
I guess you could say it's larger for that area, but that's one of the main logistical hubs because all the gear that we put on the trucks to take out somewhere, you had a small airstrip that some fixed wing aircraft could come into. So you had personnel coming in and out of there.
Okay.
So then we would go from there out all over Helmand Province.
Wow. When you think of Helmand Province, right, what was the geography like? What was the land features like?
Dust, sand, desert everywhere. It was probably may still be drug capital of the world.
What kind of drug comes
Poppy was out there. Marijuana was out there. Poppy flower is beautiful, and it was far you could see in certain areas.
So you could see that almost like we'd see out by us, like sunflowers or daisies, right?
Absolutely.
So, now, why was that such a lucrative trade there that they're probably never going to get rid of?
So the Taliban was there, then their big thing was, we have the time, which they were 100% correct. We're going to leave at some point. We all knew that. I didn't know we were going to leave in the way that we did. But they said, look, you can either grow the drugs for us and make $1 a day, or you can grow the corn for them at 25 cents a day, and we're going to kill you and your family.
Sure.
So what choice do you have?
Yeah. And comes down to economics and, you know, safety and security as well, right?
Yeah, so we all knew that they were growing drugs, that they were trafficking in drugs, and it was the hearts and mind thing of just let them do it. But hey, that was above my pay grade, but you could see it everywhere. Same with the marijuana. Yeah. The fields of marijuana everywhere.
Amazing, right? Yeah. Just, they don't have roads, but they have
plenty of drugs.
Plenty of drugs itself.
And actually, when I was there was a lot of service members popping on a urinalysis, and dipping is a big part of being deployed because you can't smoke. Yeah. It's a way of staying awake.
Sure,
all that other thing. So be friendly with everyone. So the Marines would be sharing the dip. And all of a sudden, everyone's popping in your analysis. What's going on here? They finally realized that the Afghans are dipping with the poppy, and that's why everyone was popping in your analysis.
So they're giving this to the Americans
without thinking, because it's part of their culture, and it's even kids that are dipping poppy, and all of a sudden that you're sharing it. And that's when they said you can't take any from them because they have poppy in it.
And that's a large numbers, right?
Oh yes, oh yes.
So that's like an unknown, like. Officers didn't realize
no one, because
you're out in the field. You're just trying to
talk to
have
folks.
Friendly relations, right?
Yeah. So hey, this is part of my culture, and why don't you try? Yeah, I dip. I'll try some of that. You try some of mine. And to them, it's just part of their culture. They don't think about. They don't have a urinalysis. They don't. They're growing it in their backyard. Sure. So what's the difference?
Wow. So now, what were the soil conditions like there in Helmand?
Just sand, desert, dirt everywhere.
Was it thick clay?
It could be, and all I saw were mud huts. There was no structures at all.
Did you ever go into any one of those places?
No. We interacted with people. We were by there, but we never went in. I do know that sometimes the 50 cals couldn't get through the mud huts because they were so tightly packed. The rounds,
thick, right?
Yes.
Would they ever bounce off, or they would just penetrate and that was it?
Some of them would bounce off, some of them would penetrate and just not go all the way through, so it'd be stuck there.
Wow.
But yeah.
Now, once you realize that, do you say, all right, it's not worth, let's say if there's a target in there, or Taliban or Al-Qaeda?
So you just have to use different means.
Yeah.
We had grenade launchers with us, 50 cals, 240s, all that stuff.
Did the grenade launchers work a little bit more effectively?
Especially when you can send multiple at a time, they a little more effectiveness to them.
Okay. And you were on the ground, right? You were boots on the ground. How many other Marines were there with you?
Oh, I had convoys from 40 other Marines to over 200.
Okay.
So Marines, sailors, airmen, soldiers, all sorts of folks. If someone needed a ride somewhere, they'd get on the manifest and get on one of the trucks and head out with us.
All right, so you would drive the guys in, Okay, and you'd bring them out?
Whatever was needed. So sometimes picking up trucks that were blown up, other types of equipment that were there, dropping things off to build up more in the area. When my vehicle got hit with an IED, we had a Navy doc with us in the back of the truck, and he was going over to Marja where we were going at the time. So he was just getting a ride there.
Now, how could you describe to the folks at home what like an IED is?
Improvised explosive device. So there's two kinds. There's where someone uses their hand to detonate it, and there's others that they just hit a plate and boom, it goes. So homemade explosive, HME, can be from 5 pounds of explosive to hundreds of pounds of explosives. They would use dead animal carcasses, just junk on the road, and that's why
to cover it, right?
Yes, yeah. Okay. So or just dig in the ground and place it there. So there's all unique ways of going about it.
And the technology is not that great, right? So they get a little creative.
Very creative. We had jamming devices on the trucks, but even sometimes that wouldn't stop it from happening.
Now, were you there with, they still had the older trucks compared to the newer stuff that was later built? Were you somewhere around there?
Yeah, so we went from Humvees with the flat bottom, and those were horrible for this because when you have an explosion, there's nowhere to go but up. So they would bust through the holes, throw the trucks over. That's why you had a lot of deaths and a lot of limbs being lost from that. They eventually had MRAPs, which had a more V at the bottom. So this way the explosion would shoot up but out the way that it was created. Now it could kill the truck, but less chance of a hull breach. The problem we also had was sometimes a vehicle would go through an IED explosion, not too much damage that you can see that needs to be repaired, go back out, and get hit again. But because of 2 explosions, then you'd start seeing hull breaches. And
then what does that do to the member of the armed forces that's in the vehicle itself there?
It can kill you.
Yeah.
If we were in a Humvee when I got hit, I probably wouldn't have at least a leg. It's unique for my experience with my team and my truck. The person that's most at risk of being injured is the gunner because they're in a turret that's open. The ID we hit, it broke my driver's foot. He got sent home. I got a concussion. I got some stitches. The radio operator got a concussion, post-concussion syndrome. The Navy doc with us got a concussion, and the gunner had no injuries. So it's very unique that happens.
So when you had the explosion and it comes upward, like did you hit the ceiling of the vehicle or did you?
No, the explosion was a concussion with us. It actually blew up all the water bottles in our vehicle, so everything was soaked and turned to mud. My magazines from my M4 all exploded, so there was rounds all over the vehicle. Pieces of the truck got exploded. Actually, EOD comes up and goes, "Hey, you want this?" And it's a piece of the truck all mangled up, and they're like, "That almost went through your back." So I got that at home now. So it's definitely a unique piece.
So everything happened from within, right?
Everything within. Yep, it killed the vehicle, and actually the truck behind us. Part of the concussion of the explosion hit them, and the driver and a driver in that vehicle weren't able to go out for a while as well.
Your driver who. What happened with his foot? Did he end up losing the foot?
No, luckily it was just a broken foot.
Okay.
Didn't lose that at all, but he extended just for the deployment, and we got hit within the first couple of weeks there. So he went home within a month, and that can be very taxing on somebody because it's, hey, I trained and I wanted to stay in just for this deployment, and then I got to go home because I'm hurt.
Yeah,
and that's definitely tough.
Now, do you still talk to some of the Marines there?
Yeah, unfortunately, the driver in my vehicle died from bone and lung cancer from burn pit exposure.
Jesus.
The platoon sergeant at the time, he was from Hempstead. He died from...
So local guy?
Local guy died from lung and bone cancer from burn pit exposure. One of the drivers we had took his own life. They call it a fentanyl accidental overdose. We know what that means.
Yeah.
So I still talk to some of the guys here and there. We're still friends on social media.
Sure.
But yeah, I love all those guys and gals I went out there with.
Now, what is that legislation in terms of the pits? Is that the hatch? Am I saying that correctly?
The burn pit exposure, I can't remember the name right now, but it's essentially like what the Agent Orange is to Vietnam. And welcome home to our Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
But they had to wait decades for that connection.
Even for the government to admit that there was a problem.
Well, even Navy Blue Water, those who were in the territorial waters of Vietnam had to wait 50 years
to consider combat veterans and everything.
And they're just in the territorial waters carrying all that stuff. So, we're lucky we didn't have to wait that long. But again, burn pits have ravaged everyone that was in those areas, Iraq, Afghanistan, Djibouti, all different areas, because all you did was just take all the garbage, literally everything you can think of that gets flushed and thrown out, put it in a pit, set it on fire, and you're breathing it in.
It's unbelievable. And it's almost like you have to prove through these deaths and through these sicknesses, right, that you had the upscale of these things happening, right? The VAs across America.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess the positive is that you guys were able to get this legislation supported a lot earlier than decades, right?
Yeah, and the one thing I would say is when you go to the VA, they did a chest x-ray. It's not enough. I encourage anyone listening, watching, anybody, tell them to go back and get an actual scan of their chest. I did the x-ray. Hey, x-ray looks great. I got a scan of my chest and found out I have 2 nodules in my lungs, one on the left, one on the right side. So in January, it'll be the 5th year, I think, that I have to go for another scan. As long as they don't grow and more don't come, then it's like, it's not going to be cancer.
And how old are you?
45.
So there's a lot of guys that are a little bit younger and a little bit older than you that are going through this, right?
The gunner died in his young 30s from bone and lung cancer.
Wow. And these are members of the armed forces are now trying to raise a family, home, work, right?
Even like prostate cancer is connected to it. All different, obviously respiratory, everything there. But other types of cancers are connected to the burn pit exposure.
Have you seen more American Legions, VFWs, different veterans groups itself? Are they starting to rally around this cause now?
I think the information's out there, and it's just clarifying and providing more information of, they have chest x-rays and there's connections, but you need to do more. Yeah. I'm lucky to go to a certain doctor who's like an expert in this field and has done advocacy on the national level for this. So he's very knowledgeable on it. And he's like, you have metal in your lungs, no doubt about it. If I did a biopsy, there'd be metal there. Because of that too, sleep apnea is another big issue. Just everything breathing, more susceptible to certain diseases like flu, bronchitis, pneumonia throughout those winter seasons. So just keeping an eye on this stuff more because it builds up and it may take a long time to realize, this is what's going on inside of me.
So the severity is definitely...
It can ramp up quickly.
It's definitely there.
Yes.
Right? And, you look at the war on terror, right? 19 days after 9/11, there's boots on the ground in Afghanistan all the way up until really recent times.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of soldiers in terms of going to Iraq and Afghanistan and multiple deployments, right? And
it's 20 years of war. It's an entire career. You have folks who literally spent an entire career at war.
2 decades of service there.
Yes.
Right? All right, so you're in Helmand. How long are you there for?
7 months.
7 months. If you're driving, right, you're coming in here from Rocky Point, you go on a trip. Is there anything that you ever think about as a reminder of your time in Afghanistan?
I can't be a passenger in a car.
Really?
So it's funny, when I came back, I'm so used to being no one around us. Maybe you're going 20 miles an hour with these trucks in the desert. And all of a sudden you're on the I-5, which is kind of like 495, major highway.
What's that, out in California?
And that's out in California where I was. So if you're not going 80, you're getting like just run over by the traffic. And I'm sitting there going 50 miles an hour going, I'm flying. Look at these crazy people going by me. You see people on the side of the road. It's so different. And then my father's driving me around and I'm a lunatic in the car. He'll probably say I still am today. Yeah. But I'm like, Dad, I just can't be a passenger in a car anymore because just seeing something out there getting too close, because you have a certain distance of dispersion between vehicles if somebody gets too close, and it just sticks with you.
Is that like a form of PTSD?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But it's just because of being a passenger for so long, and especially because I was a platoon commander telling everyone what to do. I can't tell my dad what to do.
Yeah. You're the officer, right? So you're handling communications.
You got the map on you. You're telling the communications Marine behind you what to do. You're trying to talk to folks. You're telling the driver where to go. Gunner, what do you see over here? So there's a lot going on, and you're trying to manage all that at once. You're trying to talk to other folks, check in with your unit, tell the other unit you're getting close to their AO. So it's just a lot going on.
When you had an IED, right, and you're the officer, what was like the protocol? You drive through there, you hit an explosion.
All our comms went down.
Obviously, it causes like a problem, right?
Yeah, so all our comms went down. Radio didn't work. Blue Force Tracker didn't. It all went down. So one of the tertiary.
You were all alone, basically, right? In a rough spot.
And everyone's sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, what's happening in that truck?" Because you can see the explosion, you can hear it, and they're going, "What's going on?" But one of the tertiary means of communication is take this smoke, throw it out to let everyone know that we're okay. It didn't work. So now primary, secondary, tertiary means of communication are all down. And eventually one of the trucks tries to start backing up because they think we're down, seriously down. And eventually the gunner jumps out and goes, "No, we're good," trying to yell at them, tell them we're okay. So then they finally stopped. But yeah, you have certain standards of operating procedure, SOPs of how you're supposed to do things. And it really that's the training kicks in. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall back to your training. And that's what everyone did. This is what we trained for. We stayed in place. EOD came out, and luckily we just moved on from there. We were close enough that we had the wrecker, which is like the trailer, come up, take our vehicle. All the guys just jumped into different trucks, made it onto the base, and just took it from there.
Now, you're in a vulnerable spot, right? Were you guys ever attacked on top of that?
It wasn't a complex attack. It was just an IED hit. I think they specifically targeted my vehicle. But we hit other IEDs. We got shot at, all that fun stuff.
So you're on the side of the road or wherever you're at, and now you have income in one way or another, right?
Yeah.
And then you're almost on your own, right? Because communications is down. How long did it take for you to get communications back up and getting some sort of support?
I think we were able to yell to the vehicle in front of us to call forward to the AO that we're in to that unit of, "Hey, here's what's happened. What do you need us to do? Where do we go from here?"
Would they ever send any helicopters out or anything like that?
No. There was the Ospreys that came to that base the next day. So like my radio operator he couldn't go anywhere. So he got flown back. The Navy doctor stayed out there because that's where he was going anyway. And the truck driver had to get flown back because he had a broken foot.
Was that a common mode of transportation? Was the Osprey itself in terms of helicopter-wise?
It was new, but everyone liked it. So they definitely used it.
Okay.
But that was just because of the area we were at too. So the Osprey, it wasn't just a fixed wing where it comes landing. It's rotary too, so it can come and just come down like a helicopter, but also take off like a dual threat hybrid fixed and rotary wing.
Now, you're in Helmand Province. I mean, that was a hot spot in Afghanistan. That was one of the probably worst areas to be.
And Marja was actually the area that no military had been in before us, except for maybe Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a place that...
and that's the capital of that province, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, it being a capital of the province, what kind of structures? Did they have any buildings there, or
mud huts?
A couple of roads coming in and out?
Well, the roads are just dirt paths that we say are a road.
Okay. That you can get vehicles on, horses, right?
Yeah, and not every quote-unquote road could handle our vehicles, so it'd only be certain ones.
Did the engineers have to go in there in certain spots? And
yeah, so there was another area in Helmand where the engineers went out. They built this path over like a bridge, let's say, and the road and everything. So we come up the next day, and there's the Afghans literally digging it up. So I call up to the base, "Hey, weren't you supposed to work on this?" Yeah, we did it yesterday. Afghans are out here now literally digging it up. What?
For what reason? They just taking the materials, or?
I don't know. And I was just like, we can't get through because they dug it up. The vehicles won't go over. And they're like, "Oh my God." So it was a whole big deal above my pay grade, but it's just.
And it wasn't guarded, huh? It wasn't, you figure.
They came in.
That's like a pretty strategic spot, right?
I think they were looking at it as, "Hey, you requested this, Afghan folks. We're going to build it for you, make it nice and easy for everybody." And then whoever lived there just apparently didn't like it and dug it up.
Wow. Was there a lot of that?
Was
there a lot of things where you scratched your head?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was just Afghanistan.
That's just what it was there.
Wow. You ever, I know it was a disastrous pull out, right?
Yeah.
But do you keep an eye on parts of Afghanistan? Just like, you're looking at the newspaper or you're looking online.
Yes.
You ever see, what happened to some of the areas that
I wonder about it.
You might have been in, right?
I will never want to go back there. I know they have a lot of Vietnam veterans going back to Vietnam. Yeah. I have absolutely no interest to ever go back there again.
No desire to go back?
At all, no.
Wow.
No.
Okay, so we're going to come back for a third episode here on the Fog of War and Humanity with Lieutenant Colonel Chad Lennon and legislature in Suffolk County on hmTv. Please return back for another interesting episode.